Hey guys, Allison here, and I am back with another Clear the Desk layout, and it is a new month. It is April, and I am determined to get these paper issues challenges done, like all of them. So I have written them all down into my little book, and I even printed off the inspiration images and things. So I'm going to be following or entering the Keep It Sketchy challenge, and this is the sketch I am going to be using because that's the one that we're supposed to use. The other thing that I am doing, this is a day late, but Chamel's random icon prompt was zebras yesterday, and I have nothing with a zebra on it in my stash that I could find, but I have letter stickers that are zebra print. So those are going to go onto my layout, and it works with this album because the other lettering I have been using throughout has some black and white on it, so it's not going to be out of place. And I have been saving this gorgeous paper for something special, so today we're going to document something special. And I've got this one photo of my daughter. Ooh, I got some letter stickers on there. That's not good. Of my daughter. And this is her grade 2 teacher who retired a few years before she graduated from elementary school, but came back specially to watch, my daughter, but this entire class, because this class of kids was quite special, and all the teachers sort of felt that way. So she came back to watch them all graduate, and it was a big surprise. So that's what I'm going to scrapbook about. The sketch, it has one photo, and then it's got a couple of longer pieces of paper behind the photo. So I've got this black and white grid, which is the back side of this gorgeous flower, but I felt like there was too much floral if I tried to use this side, even though I love this side. And then I have this tone-on-tone pink polka dot. The other side looks like that. This is I think a pink paisley. Let me see, I have the branding strip. Oh no, Studio Calico 7 paper. So this is just literally a scrap from my basket. And for the vertical strips, because there's quite a few of those, I pulled in various things. So I had that sticking around. I had two others that I had cut that are on another layout. I've got some pencils. I thought those might be good to work in. I've got a strip of this, which I will not keep at the full 12 inches. And then just some other bits and pieces that the colors worked. So this is from the same paper as the pencils, but I quite like that color. I've got some gray and some white. Got a little bit of blue I can chop up. These are two of my 3x4 journaling cards that I had put into my kit. That side doesn't really work. Although if I find that I need something for the journaling, I could use this. But I liked that it was sort of black with a little hint of blue, which ties all the other bits of blue together. And then I had found this number 2 in my stash. Now it actually is engraved with the word "gather" down at the bottom, but it's very subtle, and I don't think you can hear it. So I might just cover that, or I don't know, I might just leave it, but I liked the 2 for the grade 2. Okay, that's where we're at so far. I've got a few other sticker things to the side of my desk, and of course my zebra print alphas. Oh, and I pulled this typewriter. Now, Chamel had a very interesting response to a question about why typewriters and cameras weren't included in this random icon challenge. And her response was that typewriters for her represent writing in general. So writing is something that we all do on our scrapbooking layouts in some form or other. Some people write more, some people write less, some people handwrite, some people typewrite. So for her, it's not a random icon because it can go with anything. And I had never thought of it that way. I always have trouble putting typewriters onto layouts. So I am determined to get this on. It's going on there somewhere. And then I also had these little strips that I had cut apart for another layout that also bring that blue in. So I'm going to try and get them on this layout, but no promises. Okay, that's it. That's what I got so far. Let's get started. If you've been watching my videos for any length of time, you know that I always start by chopping off that branding strip. And it's actually quite a nice color. So I put it with all the other little strips of paper I have just to the side of my trimmer to see if maybe I can work it in for the vertical strips on the sketch. And then I work on the two large pieces of paper in the background. Now that black checked piece, I didn't want either of them the full 12 inches, but I especially didn't want that one because I felt it would be quite heavy. And it was already at 6 inches wide, 6 by 12. So I just chopped it down to 8 by 6, and it still seemed a little bit heavy. There was too much showing around the photo, I felt. So I just trimmed off another inch. So it is 8 inches wide by 5 inches tall, if that is any interest to you at all. And then the pink polka dot is, I think it's about 9 inches wide now, and I don't know how tall it is. It's not quite 4 inches, I don't think. So I have got them arranged, and I have stuck down the black one, but nothing else, because I want to work on all that vertical element that's in the sketch. So I am placing all my pieces to see if I can find an arrangement that I like. And I cut the pencils out individually, and then I decided to give them little points to mimic the pencil points. The multicolored chevron piece, which I can't see right now, there it is also cut to sort of an arrow, and I decided to mimic that with these pencils. Not all of the pencil points are perfect on the papers, just the way the little scrap had been trimmed. But I thought maybe I could work them in to point to things, or something like that. Okay, so now I am ready to stick down all these vertical pieces. And in the sketch, they all go, they span sort of the whole width behind the photo, but not all of mine are long enough to do that. So I'm not going to worry about it. And I'm just going to layer them up, make sure that they are sort of staggered different heights. And I don't want all the same color beside each other, kind of a thing. And once I get enough of them on the background, I can put down my pink polka dot and my photo, and then I will add a few more scraps in where I feel like maybe it needs something, like there's like an awkward gap or something like that. So I had cut the sort of florally piece of paper, was only about 3 inches wide. I think I'd already cut it in half for something else, so I cut it in half again. And one of them is stuck down at the top left, and then the other one I've actually ripped in two, so I can tuck it into different places. And there you see me tucking in the pencils, and I put some foam tape behind that multicolored chevron, and that way it will get popped up for a bit of interest and also help to draw attention to the title, which is what I am putting on now. So I put the first word, which is welcome, onto the photo in such a way that all the little holes in the letters are completely on the photos, not sort of half and half photo and the pink paper. I think that would be distracting, especially because the pattern on the letters is quite busy. And then I put the second word underneath it, and I had it sort of butted up against it right away, and I realized that I hadn't left room for the dot over the I. So I move it down, put the dot in, realize it looks horrible, so I move it back up again, and now I've moved everything so often that I need to put some extra glue on these letters so that they will stay stuck after I have finished filming, basically. And it's a bit hard to read on the video, and even in the photos it's probably a little bit hard to read, but in real life those letter stickers do work, so just in case you're wondering. And now it's time to get my 2 in and add a few accents, and I've got these little strips of, it's actually a branding strip from one of the papers, but it says some fun things. So I put one of them up there, and that's my first horizontal piece. And I wasn't sure if I really wanted to do that, but I quite like the way it looks, so I go with it. And then I abandoned the black journaling card in favor of actually using it as a journaling card. I decided that there was enough sort of black on the layout already that I didn't need to add that pattern, even though I really like the pattern. But I quite like it as a journaling card. And then the top of it says "Listen up," which I feel is something that maybe the teacher would have said to them. So I think it all works. And then I can get that typewriter in at the bottom. And now I'm just working on a little extra bit of embellishment that is not on the sketch. So slap my hand, but I went off sketch. Oh no. But it allows me to bring in another one of those little strips. I just really like the sentiments on them, and I like how it adds more of the blue color. And I decided to fussy cut one of the balloons instead of adding the whole strip of balloon paper down there. And I want to bring in some of the black. On the sketch, there are a few circular elements which I haven't put onto my layout as of yet. So I punch a scrap of that black into a partial circle and tuck it in there. And I punched the pink polka dot into a circle and tried to add it in there, but it was too much. So I ended up going with another little strip of the pink polka dot. And that is just how I like to tie everything together, so I can bring the colors that are up in the main part of the layout down to that little bottom element down there. But that circle that I punched does work up by the number 2. And it reminded me that I had punched some little circles out of that black check, which is the flowers on the other side, a long time ago. And so I hunted for them and tried to put them on the layout, but they really didn't work. So now I am working in some bits of washi tape from this book from Crepe Paper. I think it's the Bloom collection. And I'm putting in little strips. The first one just has the word love over and over again in sort of multicolored font. And then this one is a pink floral. And I play with it quite a while. I'm trying to sort of sprinkle it around the layout in a pleasing manner. And I've got it in 3 places. One is horizontal, and so I try to add it up there on the horizontal, but it's just not really working. So it goes back in the book. And then I try this one last piece. It's a black and white. It's already notched like a banner, and I put it on there, and I realize you can't see it against the background paper. So I just pull it off again and put it back in the book, and I realize it's just not going to work because it's so transparent, and against that background paper, there's just no way you can see it. So there's no point in putting it on there. So now it's time for something with a little bit of different texture, and I go to this chipboard waterfall pack that I have been using throughout this album, and I pull out a few pieces. One went up there by the number 2, and then another one I've just put down underneath the title. It's actually got red on it, which is a color that is not prevalent on the layout, and I toyed with the idea of adding more red pieces, but I decided to just, if I leave it as just the one little shot of red, and it's very subtle, then I think it'll be okay. But there are some stars on there. There's 3 in 3 different colors, so I dot those around. And I think, what am I doing now? Looking through all my other little bits and pieces for some more embellishment. And I pulled out Chamel's sticker book. Now this particular sticker book has silver foil accents, and I decide I don't want to add any silver to this. And in fact, I don't have any metallic accent on this layout as of yet. But for some reason, I really don't want to go silver. I think in the album there's a lot of gold, so maybe that was what my thinking was. But I do pull out some little asterisks and plus signs from a Gossamer Blue set of epoxy stickers that I've been using up. And then there was a couple more on that set from the Bloom collection. And now it is time for some enamel dots. And I find these stars. This is also a Gossamer Blue set, and they are gray. So I dot them around. I'm really liking that it's a subtle accent because it's tone on tone with the background paper, but it's a different texture, so they do show up. But I do need a little bit more color, so I pull in some pink enamel dots as a final finishing touch, just to brighten up the areas a little bit. There's a lot of gray. I like the tone on tone. I like all the gray, but I do decide it needs to be a little bit brighter. So I pull in some of those pink enamel dots. And there we have it. There's the finished layout. So the two up at the top, I decided not to cover up the gather part, as you can see right there. And it is a very different color than the rest of the layout, but I have decided to just live with it. It's not, I'm not going to let it bother me, basically, because it represents that the grade 2, and I like that more than I dislike the color of it. So there you go. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.